Breaking news out of Doswell, Virginia. King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia just announced RAPTERRA, which is a B&M wing coaster. A launched B&M wing coaster at that. So they just announced this. Of course, there's been rumors about this, I believe back like in February of 2024. The whole way back to then, there were rumors about this. You know, people saw some like blueprints. Somebody that worked for King's Dominion saw blueprints, you know, somewhere in, you know, one of the maintenance buildings, something like that. And then like 2 months ago or so, we started to see construction go vertical. You know, they started to level out all the ground, and then they started to pour footers. And just about a month ago, they started doing track work, and you know, it's fairly far along. And really, King's Dominion, you just got to give them a clap for how quickly they've, you know, gotten this up and how early they started, and even how early they announced it. Most parks wait till, you know, August to announce it. They announced it July 31st. So, you know, I think they kind of did it July 31st just to say, hey, we got it out before we unveiled our new ride before August. I think that's what they did. But overall, this looks like a great ride. Of course, we've seen, you know, people did like No Limits creations of this. You know, just from the blueprints and stuff, how they thought it would be, and it definitely is almost the same. But it overall looks, you know, really good. And of course, we saw, you know, the theming around today and the name RAPTERRA, which I'm not quite sure what RAPTERRA means, or, you know, what the theming behind that is, but of course, we'll learn more of that going forward. But overall, the theming does look good, you know, along the launch, it has some, you know, good theming, and then throughout the ride, I think it goes through some, like, buildings and stuff. It definitely looks like good theming, and a really good job with King's Dominion, what they're doing with the Jungle Expedition area of the park. You know, you have Toombeely, the bobsled coaster, and another thing to think about is, of course, the other side of Jungle Expedition, where Project 305 and Flight of Fear are. A lot of people are saying that Project 305 is going to be rethemed and repainted, do something to fit in with Jungle Expedition, which, that makes sense. The only thing with that is, like, how big are they going to make Jungle Expedition? Do they want it to be, like, a huge part of the park? Which, honestly, they might, you know, just because it definitely works for them. They, you know, just, obviously, I haven't been to King's Dominion, but from what it looks like, the Jungle Expedition part of the park just looks so good, and with another coaster, this looks like a good coaster. Probably, honestly, the third best coaster in the park. Of course, you have in I-305, or I guess now Project 305, you have Twisted Timbers, and then I guess RAPTERRA. That'll be the third best coaster in the park. It definitely looks like that. And overall, this park, it's getting a pretty good coaster lineup. The bottom half isn't the greatest. It's not the greatest lineup, but overall, it does look like good. I mean, you have the Grizzly, you have, you know, the coasters I mentioned, Toombeely, which, I mean, it is a cloned ride, but it still looks like a good one. You have their B&M Floorless coaster, you know, Racer. It definitely is a fairly good lineup, you know, but they're definitely adding coasters. A lot of people were sad when they took out Volcano of the Blast coaster, which this ride is replacing. A lot of people were sad, like, this park's lineup is going to be, you know, it's not going to be that good anymore. But this is definitely showing that they're trying to build back their coaster lineup when they took out Volcano of the Blast coaster, because that was definitely a very unreliable coaster. But yeah, of course, like I was saying, they're probably going to be retheming Intimidator 305, or I guess now Project 305. That's just a placeholder name, in my opinion. Gonna be theming it something to fit in with the Jungle X, and then honestly, they could. A lot of people, you know, you might think, oh, with the Flight of Fear, how are they gonna retheme that to be in the Jungle X expedition part of the park? But there definitely are some things that you could do, you know, like escaping from, you know, some beast in the jungle, you know, going in the building and trying to escape it, you know, like basically like, you know, trying to escape the beast in the jungle or whatever. That could be something they could theme that. But back to the ride, RAPTERRA. It definitely looks like a great ride. I'm excited to see how it turns out. It looks overall like a good ride. Of course, it's the tallest and fastest B&M launched wing coaster, which it doesn't have many other rides competing for that. So really, I don't think they're going to market it that much. I think it's just something that, you know, they're like, yeah, we might as well make it the tallest and fastest, but we're not competing with much. So honestly, I don't think they're going to market it that much. Maybe a good amount, but not a ton. They're definitely not going to do a ton of marketing. But yeah, overall, RAPTERRA looks like a great ride. Excited to see how it is. Hopefully I get on it next year, but, you know, we'll have to see. But overall, it looks like a good ride. And it looks like a great fit for this park. Definitely something that they're missing. You know, they do have some launch coasters, Flight of Fear, but really, and Backlog Stunt Coaster, I guess. But really, they don't have a launch coaster that's like a big launch coaster. Flight of Fear is fairly big, but like this is, you know, a major launch coaster in the park, and it definitely will be a good fit, you know. Yeah, it is similar to Toonbilly, but not that much, because Toonbilly is a free spin, and this is, you know, the only real similarity is you're on the side of the track, which really, it doesn't really matter, and they even put them right next to each other, so it really doesn't matter. Most people probably don't even care, you know, oh, we're on the side of the track, especially with Toonbilly. A lot of people really probably don't care that you're on the side of the track, but with Reptilian, of course, that is a major thing, because, RAPTERRA, why do I say Reptilian? RAPTERRA, because it is a B&M wing coaster, and that's the main feature of it. Of course, this is a launch one, which is probably the best type of wing coaster, launch, because most B&Ms are, B&M wing coasters, rather, are, you know, they have their standard chain lift, but this and the one at Holiday World, Wild Eagle, I think is what it's called, you know, they're launched, which definitely, is good, and definitely lately B&M is getting, you know, more into launch coasters, doing a lot of launch coasters lately. Yeah, and it's definitely cool that they, you know, decided to go with a launch compared to, you know, any other type of, you know, normal chain lift. Another thing is, really, along the ride, as I've looked, there's not many, you know, head or feet choppers, which is what a lot of other B&M wing coasters have. They have a lot of head and feet choppers, you know, because it's, you know, the trains are fairly wide, so they can do that, and that's definitely a thing that, you know, a lot of the older B&M wings, that's mainly what they do. But this ride, it does look like it's fairly long, and it looks like it does provide some good forces, and, you know, the launch, of course, cool, and, of course, with the theming, great, and this is overall a great ride, because King's Dominion will be celebrating 50 years in 2025, so this is definitely, you know, a great addition for celebrating 50 years, you know, compared to other parks, Great Adventure, that, you know, weren't even going to open a ride for their 50th anniversary, and they just got a ride, you know, that was already, you know, already built for another park, and then, you know, the other park didn't want it anymore, so they just gave it to Great Adventure. But hey, at least King's Dominion, they're actually, you know, they've been planning this, I'm sure for many years they've been planning this, you know, they're a place for Volcano, and yeah, it has been many years, because I believe back in like 2020 or 2019 or something, they released plans to build a wing coaster, but that fell through, and yeah, now they re-announced it, so yeah, it's definitely looks like a great coaster, and overall, probably be my first B&M wing coaster, and it looks like a great one, probably one of the best out there overall. You know, Firebird, or Wild Eagle, I think is what it's called at Holiday World. It does look a good coaster, but this, honestly, it looks better just because the layout looks a little longer, and yeah, it's definitely will be going faster, and I believe it's taller. So yeah, RAPTERRA looks like a great ride at King's Dominion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next one. Goodbye.